supported the Occupy demands of the 99%, 1%. When the Financial Times endorses this movement, you have won an enormous ideological victory. So the ideological victory should be celebrated. That needs to be declared. I would like to see people say we have won that. That means we have actually achieved something already, regardless of what happens. I think the question of institutional formation is separate. I mean, look, there are a million grievances. The grievances need to be utilized and people need to become aware of all the problems. I think some symbolic demands are very important. Like my personal favorite demand is the Occupy movement should call for the resignation of Timothy Geithner. That should be the minimum demand. In all of the Arab Spring, the minimum demand was Mubarak should go, Ben Ali should go. And for us it should be Geithner should go. That's it. Geithner should go. Down with Geithner. It's a symbolic thing, but you need some symbols.
That's a good chant.
The grievances are deep. The change of political parties is not relevant. The structure has to change. That's a long-term process of building. I mean, in other cities, people have gone back to their communities. They are building their movements. That's how it's going to go. But ideologically, this is a huge victory. Who would have believed in this country the New York Times would accept that the 1% have taken too much of the pie? Even that basic liberal thing is a huge victory. Yeah.
So if this is a minimum demand, Geithner should resign. I'm interested in relating that to what you said earlier about one of the great things about, say, for example, Occupy Boston is we had people from all different parts of the ideological political spectrum talking to each other. There's been a lot of tension at Occupy Boston about precisely this issue about demands or making a statement. We have a number of working groups. We have official and unofficial working groups trying to draft some kind of statement. And there's real concern that quote-unquote radical demands are divisive, they undermine the populism of the movement, and what advice or what thoughts do you have for us to work on that with each other?
I mean, you are in the middle of discussing it here, so you have a better sense of it. But the warning is the Spanish indignados. They started last year. They refused to create concrete demands, and then it dissipated. So I would say some things in every upsurge, however populist it is, some things need to be bottled. So I would say bottle the victory. I would like to see big banners saying, we won. We got all these people to accept that there is inequality. Huge. It's a huge victory. Mission accomplished. It's a huge victory. That. And then I would say, everybody need not agree. But there needs to be at least some kind of symbolic, it may not be Geithner has to go, but some symbolic demand needs to come. The system needs to be gone in 6 months. There has to be something that creates the possibility of further momentum. The snow is going to come. People are going to leave. I would say before you leave, better to leave in victory than defeat. In other words, say on November 30th we are closing, we'll be back on tax day. And by tax day, this person should leave. There needs to be, because we must never allow ourselves to leave out of defeat. We must always declare victory and say we'll be back on this date. And then say by this date we expect the following. 3 things. We expect that, this building be turned into a homeless shelter. It's empty. It's a perfectly reasonable demand. We expect the free speech university should be handing out degrees to people without student debt. Okay, so you can get a BA. I'll sign your
Taking money from that building.
Oh, no, forget them. You don't need them. We'll give each other BAs. After all, it's a piece of paper.
No, they don't pay for it.
We can even create a graduation ceremony. You see, maybe we can stop saying, that was the idea of the Free University in Berlin. We'll just give degrees. Forget student debt. It's crippling. So there is a way to package momentum. That has to be done. There has to be momentum. The momentum cannot be lost. It's actually momentum that's more important than creating a political platform. Because the momentum is going to allow this to sweep through society.
got to have the right ideas.
The right idea. But the ideas have won, my friend. Even the Financial Times, something has happened to that newspaper. They said inequality in America is obscene. That's amazing. Yes.
I was just thinking about the history of movements and two things. One that I think Occupy has done so well is to tell a story that people can understand. That's what the right wing does, is they tell lies so people can understand it. Pointing a finger at the villains. People need a villain. And I think what you're saying, what you said today, helps by spreading that. The more that spreads beyond here.
Yes. I brought something to share with you. Just take a look at this. This is an amazing statistic. Not statistic, data. Tax cuts for the top 1% cost the US Treasury $2,129 per second, or $127,723 per minute, or $7.7 million per hour. You know what I found out about the tax cuts? Amazing fact that the tax cuts this year, the tax cuts to the 1%, just the tax cut, was greater than the combined income of the 99%. That is an amazing data point. Okay, so I want to walk around like this now. No, boring t-shirt. Huh? Yeah, please.
Did you see this?
Yeah, this is great.
Hold on.
Okay, this is the defense one. Red. It shouldn't be red. It should be a different color. Military department, all the spending 60%, but this doesn't include the veterans for the future. In fact, it would be greater. More than, if you include payment for veterans' health, it will be greater than 60%. But it's a good indicator. Obscene.
But what I add to that is a lot of people who are on the left say the country's too stupid. They're blinded. But we're not telling the story, and Occupy is telling that story. Obama never told the story. Whether he believes it is the other question, but he never told the story. So the bankers get away with everything. So continuing that, the other thing I would hope is that people remember that the one thing that they want to happen is for people to think of to use violence, to think the next level is to use violence as a means to make change. Because if you look at the history, every time there's been a movement, from the Bread and Roses strike in Lawrence through Vietnam War demonstrations, through civil rights, they were planting people to do violence, to discredit the movement. That is the history. And people will say, let's start, whatever. That is the end. That turns everyone away. It isn't also the future we want.
No, I think that we have come a long way since then. One of the things, people are now so aware of provocateurs. I think people are aware and everybody understands that. But by the way, we are, as I said, we are 100% stupid. Not 8%, 10%, 15%. We are all stupid. That's the point. We live in a stupid world. History has not even begun. Rationality has not entered the world. This is the irrational world. We are waiting for the world to become rational. That's the point. Not that somebody doesn't get it. None of us get it as such. We are all in thrall of commodities. We are all looking to buy the next interesting thing. We are all going into debt. That's the real tragedy. Oh yeah, pleasure. Yeah, pleasure. Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
What's the agenda?
So
You're in
the
camera.
nature of decentralized organizing. Apparently, the mic was promised twice or 3 times, or I don't know what happened. So a bunch of new people came at 4, I guess, because they thought it was going to happen again at 4.
We thought it was going to be over there.
So I don't know. I think we should just continue the discussion, or you can start again.
You're the leader of this.
There's no leaders. No leaders.
Yeah, because a lot of people thought it was going to be over there.
There's a sign that says it's over there.
Yeah, so a lot of people missed it again.
If you missed this talk, it will be on the Zinn School site. It's recording right now. So if you can wait a few days until I get Noam Chomsky up, you can watch anything you happen to miss. Thank you. Enaa, Enaa. That's the channel.
You can get to it.